Well, greetings and welcome to Main Street Sports. This is our 2025 JCAA Conference Baseball Preview. Ray Halbrook here from Livestream STL. Hope everybody's having a great day today. And Jeffrey Whitener is with us as well. Jeffrey, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ray. I'm glad that we're finally outside for the rest of the school year now, baseball, and some softball, college softball, and uh, pretty quick turnaround here, right out of the basketball postseason, jump right in with both feet into baseball.
Absolutely no rest for the weary here. And we are going to kind of recap a little bit of last season's records, and then we'll go in and do each individual school. Then we've got a bold prediction for each conference here, the large school and the small school conferences here. So let's dive into this right now. Let's start with the small schools here real quick. And it looks like this. The St. Pius X Lancers at 11-11. They ended up 3-0 on the season here. Jefferson at 13-10, 2-1 on the season. Crystal City 6-12, 2-1 on the season in the conference there. Herculaneum 6-13, 2-3 in the conference. St. Vincent 8-13. They were 1-3 in the conference. And Grandview rounds things out here at 1-11, 0-3 in the conference. Let's start by just recapping a little bit of last season and your thoughts here overall, Jeff.
Well, for the past few years now, it seems like it's been a two-horse race between the St. Pius Lancers and the Jefferson Blue Jays. Unfortunately, this year for the JCAA small schools, we don't have St. Pius in the conference any longer, so it's a five-team conference. Jefferson, Crystal, Herky, St. Vincent, and Grandview. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, Ray.
Absolutely, and it definitely going to make a difference. I think there's a lot more opportunities from maybe some of the schools that were struggling last season as well. So it gives them a chance to get a leg up and maybe see if they can give. Probably it looks like maybe Jefferson is my pick here, maybe the pick to click and whatnot. But I think Jefferson might be the team to beat this year.
I think so. We'll look at that here a little later, but yeah, they've got some players coming back that should make a pretty strong move this season.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our first school here, and that is going to be the Crystal City Hornets. Crystal City is coached this year by Brantley Lowcamp, and this is his first year, obviously, as the coach here. And the Hornets will retain all of their players from the 2024 squad. And Jeff, you've got the rest of this year.
Sure, they have everybody coming back. They didn't graduate any seniors last year. Their key contributors forecast for the season include Nolan Eisenbeis, Cale Schaumburg, and Evan Wolf. Those guys will spend a lot of time on the mound. Nolan Eisenbeis, probably one of the top pitchers in the JCA small school. Of course, Nolan has signed to play college baseball next season at Jefferson College right here in Hillsboro. So it'll be very interesting to see Nolan Eisenbeis and Evan Wolf obviously together. Those two guys, great chemistry on the football field, great chemistry on the basketball field. We'll see how that chemistry translates to the baseball diamond.
Well, anytime you have Nolan Eisenbeis in the mix at all, I mean, he's just a flat out athlete, and he's just one of those kids that can get the job done, and it doesn't matter what sport he's in.
Exactly. Now, last year being a younger team, Crystal City had decent pitching, but their hitting was a little suspect. So it'll be interesting to see now as these kids are all a year older, a little more mature, putting in the work, if their hitting can come around and make them a more balanced team. So far this season, they're 0-2 to start the year, Ray.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the Grandview Eagles. Grandview is coached by Jason Kiminall. This is his second season as the head coach here, and the Eagles have lost 5 players, or 45% of their 11-man roster, to graduation. No stats have been really available this year, and Jeff, you've got a few other things you're going to talk about as well.
Well, it's good that Jason Kimenow is the baseball coach because he has so many of his football players playing for the baseball team. So might as well make that easy transition there. But they lost 5 players and they only had an 11-man roster last year. So that's 45% of everything they had on the roster. Now this year, top players projected to be Brock Poole, Cameron Brooks, Christian Volner, should come on and make some big contributions for them. They do have 15 players, however, on their roster this year, so a little more depth for the Eagles, and that they've yet to play a game this year. So Grandview, big question mark this year as far as what they might be able to pull off in the conference.
Hey, all you need is the question mark. Anything can happen,
That's right.
especially from having a really down season last year. I mean, a little bit of maybe a little lady luck can help them, get a few more wins this season.
Nowhere to go but up.
That's right. Let's move over to the Jefferson Blue Jays, and they are coached by Robert Coonley. This is his 10th season as the head coach for the Blue Jays, and they have lost 7 players to graduation, including standouts Cole Robinson, Cole Williams, Max Schnitzler, and Garrett Lalamander.
Yeah, three of those four guys playing college ball right now. Although they do return standouts Wyatt McDaniel, Landon Weiss, Nolan Nocky, Bo Davis, and plus the addition of Carson Hafner should be healthy in the lineup this year. I think the Blue Jays are going to have a pretty well-rounded team, pitching and hitting, and Weiss and some of these guys, Hafner, bring a lot of good defense to the table too. Obviously, it's a team that I'm a little closer to, and I think they'll have a pretty good chance this year. They're 1-3-1 on the season. They've played some pretty tough games tournament wise here earlier in the year. So we'll see how that all irons out as we start getting into the bulk of the schedule.
Absolutely. This is my team that I've going to pick to, probably finish close to the top there. So, and it just goes by the experience, a 10-year coach here of Robert Coonley, along with just, again, a plethora of athletes. We're going to move on to the Herculaneum Black Cats now here. And the Herculaneum Black Cats, they are coached by Blaine Boss, his second season there as the coach here. Herky lost just 2 players to graduation last season, including Devin Black. He was one of our standouts. And they retained standouts Tanner Duncan and Mason Gorza.
Yeah, so far this year, the Black Cats have started 0-3. Tanner Davis, Garza going to be big contributors on the team.
Tanner Duncan.
Pardon me, Tanner Duncan and Mesa Gorza, big contributors on the team. It'll be weird this year, Ray. It seems like for the last 7 years, 6 or 7 years, we've always had either Dylan Black or Devin Black on the Black Cats, and those two players and their leadership and their abilities will be sorely missed for sure. Of course, Dylan Black's currently playing college ball at Jefferson College as well. My concern for the Black Cats this year, though, is the supporting cast around
Yeah.
those two players and how they'll work out. As I mentioned, they have started the season so far 0-3.
Yeah, seems like that's been the MO the last 3, 4, 5 years. Is you've got a good core of 2, 3 players, and then it kind of trails off quite a bit. So I think a lot of that kind of goes to, probably some feeder program issues and being able to continuously pump out those big kids that that are impact players that you see more on the larger school side as well.
Correct.
Moving over to the St. Vincent Indians. St. Vincent's head coach is Corey Sauer. This is his 5th season as a head coach, and because St. Vincent does not post very many complete stats or rosters, we really don't know a ton of what we'd like to know here going forward here as far as who's graduated last season and whatnot. But we're hoping to take a look at a couple of games this season here for the St. Vincent Indians.
Right. And I've been able to glean some things from my research, Ray. I know that, first of all, being down in Perry County, St. Vincent was much more fortunate than Perryville High School was as far as escaping any of the serious tornado damage that tore through that area. So they are in good shape there. I also know that they're going to have a pretty strong pitching staff this year. Nick Buckeye, Jake Seba. Of course, we saw Nick Buckeye during the basketball season as a standout player too for St. Vincent. But those two guys will carry the bulk of the load on the mound for St. Vincent. They're again like Crystal City. Will they have enough hitting to carry them through? And they're thus far 1-1 on the year.
There you have it. That is a look at our small school preview, and we're just going to go right straight into it here. Jeff's bold prediction for the JCAA small schools.
I'm
Take it away, Jeff.
I'm thinking, I'm meditating on this, Ray. I put a lot of thought into this, and this is what I have. First of all, let's talk about, and these teams are in the order of how I think they will finish. I have Jefferson at number one, with St. Pius no longer in the conference. I don't think anybody this season, at least, will be able to challenge the Blue Jays for the top spot unless for some reason their pitching or defense would fall apart. I think they just have too much depth this year, and some really good upperclassmen who are really good competitors. And I just don't see anybody being at a point in development of their teams where they could possibly challenge the Blue Jays this year. We move on to number two, St. Vincent. I think the Indians' strength is in their pitching, and that will be enough to propel them in the second place. If they get some even average hitting this year and some clutch hits, I think they could really cause some trouble in the conference. Third, I have Crystal City. I think that Nolan Eisenbice and his fellow seniors will try to go out with a bang this season. And Nolan is the top pitcher in the conference, in my opinion, as I said before. And I look for a breakout season for young Trent Eisenbice as well, the power hitter. I think that some of these guys on the roster this year for Crystal City will follow the lead of Nolan Eisenbice, and what they may not have, in talent, they'll make up for just sheer will and determination, right?
Excellent.
In fourth place, I have the Herculaneum Black Cats. I just don't see, as we spoke before, the Herky has enough experienced talent to surround their core of two or three top players this season. I think it's going to be tough this year. I'm concerned about their pitching, past a couple of guys there, and I don't see them being able to break through just yet. And then again, we have Grandview in fifth at the bottom. A lot of new faces on the roster this year, and I think it's going to take them quite a while to gel into a decent team, right?
There you have it. There you are. And that is our JCAA conference preview for the small schools. We'll be back in just a moment with the large schools.
Church is more than just an hour in a pew every Sunday. It's a community. It's where you can come as you are. It's a place where you can connect with God, learn from Scripture, and grow as you build relationships. It's a place where it's okay to be a work in progress. At Faith Community, you'll find an authentic group of people who are pursuing God and supporting one another along the way as we move from where we are to where God wants us to be. Wherever you're at on your journey, you are welcome here.
Hi, this is Bill Rubel with APB Storage. APB Storage is a locally owned and operated family business that offers the best storage solutions in the Jefferson County area. Our electronic gate gives you 24-hour access to your storage unit, and our state-of-the-art security system provides peace of mind and security. All of the units provide an easy access drive-up doors to allow a stress-free way to your unit. Come see why people prefer the APB storage experience. Give us a call at 636-464-5629 or visit us online at apbstorage.com.
Welcome back, and it's time to talk about the preview for the 2025 season of the JCAA large schools. But before we get started with the 2025 season, let's talk about the 2024 season. We'll take a look at the records from the 2024 season here. Festus at 25-8. They were 8-0 in the JCAA large school conference here. Hillsboro 19-10, 5-2 in the conference. Perryville 12-11, 3-4 in the conference. DeSoto 12-12, 2-6 in the conference. And Windsor rounds things out 9-16-1 and 1-7 in the conference. And Jeff, your thoughts about last season? It was a pretty magical season, especially for Festus.
Yeah, Festus continued its winning ways and building that winning culture there that, as Coach Montgomery will tell you, has been really player led the last couple of years, and being able to build that program up. I just want to know how Windsor had that one tie in the season there, non-conference game. I wonder if that meant that that they went through the overtime period, no goals, and then they tied on
Yeah,
in the shootout.
right,
But
right. There you go. Let's take a look at the DeSoto Dragons here for the 2025 season, and they're coached by Tyler Beers. It's his first year as a head coach for the Dragons here. Pitched for North County, Murray State as well. He's also the head softball coach and baseball coach, doing double duty over there.
right.
And he's coached softball at Potosi and coached our good friend Sammy Huck, who ended up with the Jefferson College Vikings last season. And now she's off to bigger and better things as well.
Right at McKendree College now. We had to throw a softball player into this mix here.
Yeah.
Let Sammy Huck crash the party here because of what she's been able to do. So I can't wait to talk to Coach Beers about him coaching Sammy at Potosi, as she is down at McKendree College and still
Yep.
in the top 5 in the nation in strikeouts. So she is a lockdown pitcher. But DeSoto lost 8 players to graduation last year, including pitchers Evan McClinton and Hayden Langston, which were a big part of that team. They returned the bulk of their best hitters and seniors Remington Hogan, Brendan Young, and juniors Blake Coleman and Connor Heister. The Coleman, Young, and Heister will also feature prominently on the Dragons pitching staff this year. And so far, DeSoto is 1-2 on the season. So this will be an interesting year for the Dragons. If the guys play up to their potential, they could make a little noise here. I don't see anybody being able to jump up and grab Festus overall for the top rung in the conference. But if their pitching works out and they get some timely hitting, they could play the role of spoiler.
Well, I agree with that, and we saw bits and pieces of that last season. We'll be covering, I'm sure, a couple of games here with DeSoto. The amount of just growth in the last year or two, I think, especially pitching wise, I think has really kind of sparked my interest to see what they're going to be like this year for the 2025 season. Let's move over to the Festus Tigers. We're going to take a Festus Tigers glance here real quick. They're coached by Jeff Montgomery, also head coach of the softball team, and recently voted into the Missouri Fast Pitch Coaches Association Hall of Fame. 30 seasons as a baseball coach and a 17th season as the head coach. The Tigers lost to Webster Groves in last year's state quarterfinals, and they've lost 8 players to graduation, including Hayden Bates.
Right, Hayden Bates, one of our mainstream sports standouts. I believe he was the MVP in baseball large schools. They return a stable of pitchers, however, and they are still loaded with arms at Festus, and this is going to be the big difference maker in the conference. Have Mason Shermer returning for his senior year, Jackson Smith, and Jackson Iams, and those guys right there are a formidable trio, and they are stacked with left-handers on that pitching staff as well, Ray. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do. They do return top hitters in Brady Nolan and Mason Shermer himself, batting in the 3 or 4 slot there. So far, the Tigers are 2-0 on the season, and I think they, continue to have that momentum from the last few years, and the sky is the limit for this team.
Absolutely. I think they're going to come back and just pick up where they left off. And, it's their season to lose this season. You don't wish any kind of injury, but that would probably be the only thing that would keep them, I think, from making another deep run. I kind of feel like Coach Montgomery kind of showed a little bit of the attitude of unfinished business from last season up at Webster Groves, which we covered that game. That was an amazing game. Unfortunately, Festus come up short, but this season it's a new season. And have you ever seen so many left-handed pitchers on a team? Period. But to have 3 or 4 left-handers here to round out your pitching staff as far as the starters go, but it's just that's just an anomaly to me.
Yeah, I haven't seen it before. There must be something in the water over in Festus
Yeah.
causing these guys to be left-handed, but more power to them.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the Hillsboro Hawks here right now, and they are coached by Matt Thompson. It is his 3rd season as the coach of the Hawks. Hillsboro lost to Festus 3-0 in the Class 5 District 1 championship last season, and the Hawks have lost 9 players to graduation, including standouts Cohen Linderer, Caleb Quigley, Gavin Height, and Dominic Sutton.
Yeah, this will be a very interesting season for the Hawks, but I still think they can make things interesting for Festus like they did last year. And I still see a situation, a scenario where Hillsborough and Festus might again end up in that district championship game. Now, although they lost some very big players on the team, have a lot of shoes to fill. They do return top hitters at Easton Day, and Dom Sutton's brother Gunnar
There you
Sutton,
go.
and one of our Main Street sport basketball standouts this year. Those guys will supply a lot of power and runs at the plate as well as on the mound. So far, Hillsborough is 2-1 on the season.
This should be an interesting season for Hillsborough because you do have a ton of, just student turnout and turnover, and so it's next guy up, and so you're not sure exactly how much varsity time that they've gotten, but it's one of those things as well that hey, you just never know. You might get a couple of kids catch lightning in a bottle, and if you do that, hey, you're off to the races here, and you're giving Festus a run for their money.
I can't wait to do some of their games this season.
There you go. Take a look at the Perryville Pirates here. They're coached by Don O'Keefe. It's his third season this year with the Pirates, and they've lost 6 players to graduation, including standout hitters Grant Smith and Adam Green. They returned standout hitters and pitchers Troy O'Keefe, Barrett Wheeler, Waylon Huber, and Dalton Frisch.
Yeah, they interesting season, and this will be a very challenging one for the Perryville Pirates. As most of you know by now, their high school was heavily damaged by the tornado that came through the area. School is still not in session for them,
Yeah.
and it will be quite a while. Just recently, last week, they discovered afterwards asbestos in the building that was damaged, which is not uncommon for a building of that age. So I don't know what will be the original outcome of that. Right now, the team is practicing in Perryville City Park, and they're currently playing only away games for the first 2 weeks of the season until they can get going here. But I think Perryville has, and it'll be interesting to see how they are affected by the rescheduling of games and the weather and not being in school. But when I look at Troy O'Keefe next to some of the guys on the Festus staff next to a Gunnar Sutton, Troy O'Keefe is one of the standout pitchers in this conference. And he's Don O'Keefe's son, of course, the senior this year. Of course, we know all about Barrett Wheeler and what he did on the football field. And he is a tough as nail catcher, power hitter. Waylon Huber and Dalton Fritchie will play big roles on the team. They're so 2-0 this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Hillsborough a run for second place this year. It all depends how things are going to go. There's so many challenges ahead for them personally, on and off the diamond. A lot of these guys' homes have been damaged or destroyed. How that's going to play out? Can they rededicate themselves to playing ball and having a successful season, or is it just going to be too much for them? It's going to go one way or the other. But if they are able to really galvanize themselves and consolidate as a team and play for a cause, look out for the Pirates.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the exact same thing. You want to play for a cause. This is a chance to play for a cause here.
Right.
Rally around something, and what a better thing to rally around here than what they've been through here. They won't go back to school till Friday. We're recording today here on Wednesday, so it'll be 9 days, 10 days since they've actually been back in school. So I'm sure they're itching to get back to school, but also itching to get back here and get to the just your regular day-to-day things that you do. So important, but find a way to rally around something like this and use it to your advantage. We move on here to the Windsor Owls, and their head coach is Randy Green. It's his 5th season as the head coach of the Owls. The Owls only lost 4 players to graduation, most notably standout Adam Kveton.
Ray, they only lost 4 players, and they return a lot of top players in Keegan Murphy, Owen Higley, Adam Stryker, Cole Scott. They're 0-3 to start the season, but I think that this team is going to move on and keep improving throughout the year. They've just got too many good players And I really think they'll rebound from their season that they had last year.
It's now time to take a look at our preview here and the bold prediction of the large schools. And I'm going to give that over to Jeffrey.
Well, and I'd like to hear your predictions on this too, Ray, because the JCAA large school very very difficult to handicap this season. Aside from Festus, uh, they're blessed with a stable of great arms, as I always like to say. Coach Montgomery's got he's got the keys to another sports car over there this season in with the baseball team, and I believe they will win the district. And after that, anything goes for them. The Hawks have enough talent to really make things interesting, but I can't see them surpassing last year's 19-10 record and second place finish. That being said, it only takes an error here and there. It only takes a strikeout, a key hit to make things interesting. I've got the Windsor Owls at number 3. I look for the Owls to rebound after last year's difficult season. I believe their pitching will be better, and they could play the role of spoiler in the conference. Perryville at number 4. I almost flip-flopped those two. It could go either way. Pirates, as we spoke about, will search for resiliency in a very challenging season. They have the athletes that have proven their toughness on the baseball field and in other sports. And as I mentioned, I believe Troy O'Keefe to be one of the top 3 pitchers in the conference. And then I have DeSoto bringing up the rear. Hitting shouldn't be a problem for the Dragons this year, but I'm worried about their lack of depth in their pitching staff after Coleman, Young, and Heister.
There you have it. There you are. And I agree. I mean, I would probably give you almost the exact same predictions as well here. It is definitely Festus's season to lose. They've got a ton of pitching, and pitching is all you need most of the time for these high school games, especially. The Hawks could, like, again, because they've got some young bucks coming up, and being able to, maybe play spoiler. They could here. Windsor, I think, is going to be strong again this year. Perryville, again, they've got something they could rally around. DeSoto, they've got something that they could take a look at as well, and be able to, get stronger as the season goes. But again, my money's on Festus right now to go really deep, if not to the state championship.
And Ray, even if Festus may appear dominant this season, I think we're going to see some really great competition between the Hawks, the Owls, and the Pirates, and even DeSoto. I think any of those 4 teams right there, when they get together and hook up and play, I think we're going to see some fantastic games on the schedule.
Absolutely. That is a look at our 2025 preview for baseball, large schools and small schools here. Make sure you check out our website, livestreamstl.tv, for all the games that we have going on here. Also, we have our games. If you want to download the Roku app, just search Livestream STL as well, and you'll be able to watch your games on TV. And we've got a ton of games on the schedule here and hoping to see you out there at a game and be able to just say hey to us real quick, and we'd appreciate that. We love the support and being able to see the parents and the players and fans that come in and come out through all these games, and we always enjoy that. So for Ray Halbrook, for Jeff Whitener, all of us here at Livestream STL, we want to say so long. Thanks again for watching Main Street Sports. Thanks for watching today's broadcast. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without the express written consent of Livestream STL is strictly prohibited.